The melody flowed effortlessly from her fingertips. It wasn't just music, it was a conversation without words. As the notes filled the room, something extraordinary happened. After 5 long years, Oliver spoke. He whispered, "More, please." And as if a dam had burst, he didn't stop talking. For hours he described the music, the emotions, the feelings it evoked within him. Elliot watched in awe, tears welling up in his eyes. He'd spent millions on treatments that failed to unlock Oliver's world. But a humble waitress who understood music had done what no therapist could. From that moment on, Oliver's journey of healing began. With Aria's help, Elliot was determined to ensure she had the resources needed to guide his son. But this led to a surprising discovery. It turned out that Aria was already incredibly talented. Her natural abilities were raw, waiting to be honed. Under Elliot's guidance, she blossomed into a world-class violinist, touring globally, performing sold-out shows and recording albums that topped the charts. Meanwhile, Oliver's progress was nothing short of miraculous. With each passing month, he became more verbal, more engaged, more connected to the world around him. Their weekly sessions with Aria became the highlight of his day. But there was a big problem brewing behind the scenes. Elliot and his wife, Isabella, had a huge disagreement about how they should handle Oliver's condition. "We need professionals, specialists, not a makeshift music therapy session every week," Isabella argued. Elliot, however, saw firsthand the progress his son was making. He knew that traditional methods had worked, and he refused to abandon the path that was showing results. The situation escalated when Isabella took drastic measures. She signed Oliver up for an experimental treatment in Switzerland, one that Elliot had expressly told her he didn't want. While he trusted his wife's instincts regarding business and charity, when it came to their son, he felt he had to draw the line. He called the clinic and told them to cancel the procedure. But it was too late. Isabella had beaten him to the punch. He was furious. They had a massive fight, and Isabella left, taking Oliver with her. Elliot was heartbroken and desperate to get his son back. He tried calling, but Isabella didn't answer. He sent messages, but they were ignored. He even flew to Switzerland, only to be told that Oliver was receiving round-the-clock care and visits weren't allowed. It felt like his son had been kidnapped. The irony wasn't lost on him. All that money, all that power, and he couldn't even get through to his own son. What could he do? Desperate times call for desperate measures, decided. And so he turned to Aria. Despite her busy schedule, she agreed to help. The two of them hatched a plan. They booked a flight to Switzerland and prepared for what would be a very awkward family reunion, back in the Swiss clinic. Meanwhile, Oliver was going through an ordeal of his own. He missed his dad. More than anything, he loved his weekly music sessions with Aria, and now all that had been ripped away from him. To make matters worse, the treatment was awful. He hated the pills, the painful injections, and the nurses who didn't understand him. One night, unable to bear it any longer, he ran out of the clinic, desperate to find his dad. Little did he know that Elliot and Aria were searching for him right outside the clinic. At that very moment, their paths crossed, and it was like a scene from a movie. The moment Oliver saw his dad, he ran into his arms. Tears streamed down his face as Elliot held him close, whispering reassurances and apologies. Seeing them reunited, Aria felt a surge of emotion. But amidst the joy, Elliot turned to her, his eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have found him. I owe you more than I can ever repay." Before leaving Switzerland, Elliot made a promise to both Aria and Oliver. He vowed to hire her full-time as Oliver's music therapist, and pledged to support her violin career in any way he could. Soon, Oliver was back in London, living with his dad and receiving weekly music therapy from Aria. The sessions continued as before, filled with music, laughter, and progress. But now there was a new addition, a 4-stringed twist. Elliot, true to his word, had become Aria's biggest supporter. He used his influence and connections to secure her top-notch teachers and the finest violins. He organized surprise concerts and made sure she had the best equipment. Plus, he kept pushing her to record an album. But Aria was hesitant. Music had always been her solace, but the thought of sharing it with the world intimidated her. Elliot understood her fears, so he came up with a brilliant idea. He suggested she'd write a song for Oliver, a piece that captured their journey together. With a smile, he added, "I think he'll be your biggest fan." And that's exactly what she did. She poured her heart and soul into the composition, pouring all their experiences into the music. When Oliver heard the final product, he was ecstatic. "It's beautiful," he whispered, his eyes shining with admiration. With Oliver's enthusiastic support, Aria finally agreed to record an album. It became an instant hit, topping the classical music charts and earning her international acclaim. Oliver became her biggest cheerleader, attending all her concerts and never missing a performance. At each show, he proudly held a sign that read, "My hero, my teacher, my friend." Aria blushed, deeply moved by his unwavering support. Her success wasn't just measured in record sales or chart positions. Sure, those were great, but the real reward was seeing Oliver thrive. Watching him grow, develop, and blossom was the greatest achievement of her life. In a heartwarming turn of events, Elliot and Isabella eventually reconciled. They realized that their fight had been pointless and destructive, and they were overjoyed to see their son doing well. As a family, they supported Aria, ensuring that Oliver received the best possible care and that her music career continued to flourish. Over the years, Aria's music became known for its healing power. People from all walks of life sought her out, hoping that her melodies could mend their broken hearts and heal their wounded souls. And through it all, she remained grounded, always remembering where her journey began. In a small, posh hotel room, a spilled drink had changed everything. Bringing together a billionaire and a waitress who both wanted the same thing, to help Oliver find his voice and share his story with the world. 5 years had passed since that fateful day in the hotel, and Oliver was a changed boy. Thanks to the combined efforts of Aria, his dad, and the specialists, he was now a happy, healthy 8-year-old. He still loved music, but now he was also engaging with other children, forming friendships, and even speaking fluently. Whenever someone asked how they managed such an incredible transformation, Elliot would simply smile and answer, "Sometimes the most valuable things in life can be bought with all the money in the world. A little bit of music and a lot of heartstrings."
It's hard to imagine a life more lavish than Elliot's. A sprawling penthouse, coveted designer fashion, an art collection worth millions. And yet something crucial was missing. His young son, Oliver, struggled to connect with the world around him. Amidst the plush surroundings, Oliver felt isolated and misunderstood. His spirit as fragile as a dropped note on a grand piano. Enter Aria, a young musician who sees beyond Oliver's autism diagnosis and unlocks the symphony within him. It was love at first sight, not the romantic kind, but something deeper, a connection that transcended words. "I'm not going to teach you to play like everyone else," she said softly. "I'm going to help you play like you." Her patient, gentle approach gave Oliver a sense of ease he'd never experienced before. His grip on the bow was initially awkward, far from the polished grace of a seasoned violinist. The sound he produced was far from harmonious, more akin to a cat's distressed meow than Mozart. But amidst the discordant notes, something magical was happening. Music flowed through Oliver, transforming his raw emotions into a language the world could understand. Elliot watched in awe as his son found solace and expression in the melodies. It was as if the music unearthed a part of Oliver that had been dormant, waiting for the right key to unlock it. For Elliot, witnessing this transformation was a revelation. All the money, all the power he'd amassed couldn't bring his son this level of joy. But here was a young woman who saw beyond Oliver's diagnosis, recognizing the symphony waiting to be played. But the harmony didn't last long. The harsh discord of reality soon intruded upon their newfound peace. When news of Aria's involvement in Oliver's therapy reached his business partner, Marcus, a wave of mockery rippled through the executive suite. "Letting hotel staff play therapist," Marcus sneered, his tone dripping with sarcasm. "I thought we were trying to get Elliot back to work. This musical interlude sounds more like a detour than progress." Investors also chimed in, their voices echoing Marcus's doubts. Acquisition deals were put on hold, market reports left unread. The boardroom buzzed with concern. Elliot has always been driven, ruthless, even when it came to business. One investor confided in the press, but now he seems distracted. Is he fit to lead? As the weeks passed, the media scrutiny intensified. Paparazzi swarmed outside the penthouse, their cameras clicking incessantly. And when photos surfaced showing Arya entering and exiting the building, the tabloids went into overdrive. Billionaire dad's secret romance rocks his marriage, screamed one headline. Another proclaimed, scandalous tryst in the sky. Billionaire's wife left in the dark as lover moves into his penthouse. Gossip columns teemed with speculation, painting a picture of scandal and deceit. The whispers reached a crescendo during a charity auction. As Elliot stood with his wife, bidding on a piece of art, a reporter shouted, "What about the young How much are you bidding on her silence?" The question hung in the air, a sharp discord amidst the polite murmur of the crowd. It was a turning point. In the face of relentless pressure, Elliot's inner turmoil reached a boiling point. The dissonance between his personal happiness and his public image became unbearable. His world, once a harmonious composition of success and wealth, was now a cacophony of doubt and fear. So he made a decision. The discord had to stop. He needed to protect the melody. In a series of decisive moves, Elliot silenced the critics and the noise. He severed ties with Marcus, scaled back his business dealings, and initiated legal action against the media outlets peddling unfounded rumors. His actions surprised many, including his wife. Some saw it as a sign of weakness, a faltering in his leadership. Others viewed it as a desperate attempt to salvage his reputation. But for Elliot, it was a necessary recalibration. He realized that true wealth lay not in material possessions or public perception, but in the precious moments shared with his son and the woman who had become an integral part of their lives. Storms subsided, but the melody was far from over. After the discord, a fragile calm settled over the penthouse. Elliot, though relieved to have shielded his family from the worst of the media frenzy, couldn't shake off a nagging worry. The past few weeks had shown him how easily the music could be cut short. His gaze often drifted to Oliver, wondering how the boy was coping in the midst of it all. One evening, while the city lights twinkled below them, Elliot found his son sitting by the window, his violin resting on his lap. "How are you holding up, buddy?" Elliot asked softly, choosing his words carefully. Oliver looked up, his eyes reflecting the city lights. "I miss her," he whispered, his voice betraying the turmoil within. "Miss who?" Elliot prompted gently. "Arya," Oliver replied, his gaze returning to the city lights. "She hasn't been here for a while." Elliot's heart ached at his son's words. He understood the melody was incomplete without the other half of its duet. He knew he had to act. Days turned into weeks, and still there was no sign of Arya. The penthouse echoed with Oliver's quiet sadness. It was then that Elliot made a decision. No more waiting. He was going to bring the music back to their lives, whether Arya was there or not. He contacted the hotel where he'd first met Arya, hoping to get in touch with her. But when his call was transferred to the staff directory, he learned that she'd left the hotel without a trace. With each passing day, Elliot's determination grew. If the hotel staff knew nothing, he'd find her through other means. He scoured through hours of security footage, hoping to catch a glimpse of her. Anything that could lead him to her whereabouts. Then, a breakthrough. A casual acquaintance spotted Arya at a local community center, a place she'd often mentioned in passing. Relief flooded Elliot as he made his way to the center, eager to bring the missing piece of the melody back to his son. Upon reaching the community center, Elliot found a different side of Arya. She was no longer the poised performer from the hotel, but a casual, almost unrecognizable figure. Despite the change in appearance, there was an unmistakable passion in her eyes as she interacted with the children. Elliot felt a surge of admiration for the woman he was dealing with. As he approached her, Arya turned and their eyes met. For a moment, the bustling community center faded away. It was just Elliot and Arya, two souls connected by the language of music and the love for a remarkable child. Their reunion was filled with gratitude and a shared joy for the progress Oliver had made. Elliot explained that he was aware of her situation and wanted to personally offer a solution. And then came the offer that would change everything. Elliot proposed an opportunity for Arya to return to the penthouse, not as a music instructor, but as a co-creator of a haven for neurodivergent children. A place where Oliver could continue to thrive. Overwhelmed with gratitude and touched by Elliot's sincerity, Arya accepted. The partnership was announced, sending ripples of excitement through the city's art and philanthropic circles. A new center was established, named after Oliver and designed to nurture the artistic talents of children on the spectrum. Within its walls, music flowed freely, colors danced on canvases, and imaginations soared, guided by compassionate men. The opening ceremony was a testament to the power of unity. Oliver, once hesitant to make music with others, now took center stage with confidence, playing the very melody he'd composed on that fateful day all those years ago. The piece resonated with the audience, evoking a spectrum of emotions from joy to reflection. As the final note echoed and the applause thundered, Aria met Oliver's gaze across the room. In that shared smile, there was a silent acknowledgement of the journey they'd even through and the heights they'd reached together.